What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the 427 podcast, where we are not named after marijuana, but the 1965 Shelby Cobra. I'm your host, Tanner, as always, joined with your other host, Simon. What's up, dude?
Hello. Not
There
much.
he is. That's the voice y'all love to hear. Okay. So, care to explain what we're doing today, Simon?
Today we are doing a versus episode, the very first one we've done, and we have done two characters said any series, and we're going to put them against each other.
Like a fight to the death, you know. Should we...
Yeah.
Should we kind of imagine a ring, or just like flat open ground as far as the eye can see?
We'll say flat, open ground. Make it fair.
Okay.
Should we say there is any hills or trees or anything, or just completely flat open?
How about it's something like, How about it's something like an abandoned village or something?
Yeah, that works.
Okay. So who do you bring to the table, Simon?
Okay, so should we do one character at a time each, or should we do both at the same time?
How about we both say our lesser powerful character first, one at a time, and then we both say our most powerful character one at a time.
Okay. So my lesser of the two is still a really good unit to have on your team. It is the Clone Blaze Trooper in Phase 2 Clone Blaze Trooper armor from Star Wars.
I just realized I actually don't. I would... Okay, the lesser... Okay, my less powerful character here is CIri from the Witcher series.
Okay.
A child of the Elder Blood.
Alright.
And what's your more powerful one?
My most powerful one I've picked for today, or more powerful, I'm not even going to try to pronounce its species name, but you guys know him from the Halo series. It is the Hunter, but it is the Hunter from Halo Wars 2, the Captain/Banished version.
Okay. And my more powerful character is Eve from Grimm. And if you're not entirely familiar with that, but you are familiar with Grimm, Eve is Juliet's second kind of stage later in the show. So,
alright,
that tells you a little bit more about that. So, CIri is pretty much... She's the child of the Elder Blood. So she has like... It's hard to explain. She can She can warp. She can like move really fucking fast. She can warp. And she can kind of like play with time a little bit.
Okay.
And she's also very well trained with melee weapons.
Alright. That ain't bad.
And what about your Boba Fett dude? Or whatever.
Okay, my Phase 2 Blaze Trooper. For anyone who's ever played the Star Wars games or read the comics, they know of who this is. It is not in the cartoon series or any of the movies.
Okay.
The Blaze Trooper armor was built in order to execute Order 66 properly and was used to destroy Jedi. They come equipped with some of the strongest clone trooper armor you'll ever find in any series. They have a mounted flamethrower that is attached to one of their wrists, and they have a jetpack.
Okay. And Eve, if you're familiar with the Grimm series at all, Eve is a Hexen Beast. A very powerful Hexen Beast, which is pretty much a witch. So, almost anything you could think of can be done. Eve can, like, control other people physically. Like, if you were pointing a gun at Eve, she can telepathically force you to point that gun at yourself and pull the trigger.
That's pretty cool.
So there's also
Those
spells and curses. It's a witch.
yeah.
A very high level witch.
Those telepathic powers might become a problem when it's fighting my hunter.
I was thinking they could be a problem for both of your characters.
No, I mean, it might be a problem for you when it comes to the Ironclad, also known as the Hunter Captain.
And why is that?
Because the Hunter Captain is millions upon billions and trillions of worms that are all put together into one giant outfitted suit of juggernaut armor, with a giant cannon for one hand and a giant shield for the other.
So, Doom guy, but worms.
Yes and no.
Wait, how do worms turn into armor? They're soft.
So basically, the worms were colonized from
A remote village in Africa.
Basically, the prophets, for this is Halo lore, by the way,
Okay.
sent the Sanghillies, or also known as the elites, over to this planet to see what was there. These worms are intelligent enough to telepathically communicate with each other, turn themselves into giant monsters, and then fight. And basically, the prophets gave these guys armors and weapons. So these are these are trillions of telepathic worms all put together into a suit of armor.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Do they act together like a hive mind? Or are
Yes.
they all separate? Okay, so they all kind of have
Oh,
one
wait, no,
neural...
sorry. Wait.
They all act as one neural network.
Yes, but they're all separate. So, like, if you shoot one worm, it doesn't, it's not like the whole hive dies.
So it's like Unity from Rick and Morty.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, so yeah, like a hive mind.
Yeah, the Flood's more of a hive mind.
But is there one, like, supreme worm that takes majority control?
No, they work together all as a unit.
Okay, so they're like fire ants.
Yes, in a way.
Okay.
So even if you were to take over one worm, you couldn't take out the...
You have to take out all the worms to take out all of them.
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, how are we going to start this?
I say, well, we've described our characters. We've talked about we've obviously talked about our characters a little bit.
We didn't really put much forethought into this.
Yeah, we really didn't.
No.
I mean, we could sit here and we could describe why we think our characters are better than the other person.
Okay. You want to go first?
No, I'll let you go first.
Okay. Are we doing less powerful and more powerful first?
Let's do less powerful, and then we'll do more powerful.
Okay. So your lesser powerful is the Blaze Trooper.
The Blaze Trooper from Star Wars.
Okay, and he has, like, special armor.
He has a Imperial 0G Assault Trooper armor, Phase 2. Okay. He has a wrist-embedded flamethrower, and he has a jetpack.
Okay.
And by the way,
mobile is he?
He is very mobile.
Is he mobile enough to dodge attacks between warps?
Yes. Nah. I mean, maybe. It's definitely possible.
CIri can be in front of you, strike you, and then immediately, like, half a second later, be behind you and strike you again, and then keep going back and forth.
Okay, I see that. See, that's definitely an interesting way to put it.
And are there any gaps in the armor?
Let me look at the armor real quick. There are gaps where the thighs are, and besides that, everything else is very protected.
Okay, so
but the gaps
CIri
for the thighs are very small.
CIri trained at Kaer Morhen, which is the Witcher school of wolves. Oh, yeah, it's the wolf school of the Witchers. So she trained with Geralt and Vesemir and Lambert and Eskir, I believe his name is, or Escal, something like that. So she's very well trained with melee weapons, and she wields a silver sword with I believe it's a frostbite rune, which gives a 3% chance to freeze your enemy upon strike.
Okay.
So what I'm thinking is, are the thighs completely unprotected, or are there just gaps?
There is there's one gap on each side, and they are extremely small. It's a very thin sliver.
So it's like between two pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's my idea. Did I brush on the topic that CIri can play with time to some extent?
You did not.
I think I did.
No, you did not, from what I can remember.
It might have been before the podcast started.
Okay.
Okay, but yeah, she can like warp in and out and shit. Then she can also move very fast, and she can play with time to some extent. Not hugely. Oh, she can scream and blow people's heads up. Kind of forgot about that. That was one of the main reasons I chose her. So.
Okay. But
if I'm not going to have her scream, I could have her potentially slow down time for maybe a split second during a strike from behind and dismember one of these legs with her silver sword.
Okay.
How would you defend against
that? If you were to scream, my dude is in a giant suit of basically juggernaut armor. You can barely hear bullets in it. But this is obviously a sci-fi suit, so I doubt you'd be able to hear most things. And B, you're talking about a silver sword against a suit of armor that blocks bullets that fire pure plasma.
I really want you to understand the power of this. This scream, in one of the earlier episodes of the Witcher TV show on Netflix, this scream, while she was a child, mind you, this scream made a chasm in the ground of the earth, like pulled land apart and made a very deep chasm.
Okay.
Like an earthquake, like a fucking 10 magnitude earthquake.
Okay.
Are you still gonna go with the theory that armor could protect that?
I think the armor. I was saying the armor could dampen the sound and make it to where you couldn't hear it. But if it's that strong, I don't know exactly how the armor would protect against it, or if he could protect against it.
I feel like it would. No, go ahead.
When it comes to that silver sword, like I was saying earlier, my dude's armor is built to fight against Jedis with laser swords that are made of nothing but pure plasma. So I don't think that sword's going to do you much good.
Well, that's also why I asked about if there's any gaps in the armor, like a weak point.
And I gave you one of 2 weak points.
Gaps between armor plating on the thighs.
Yep.
And I said theoretically slow down time for a split second during an attack and bring the strike of the sword directly into that gap.
Yeah. But even then, I mean, like, we're still speaking, like I said, about sci-fi suits of armor versus medieval swords. So we really don't have a way to test to see what would exactly.
That is a good point. Okay, how would you attack, Surla?
Attack. Well, if you're going at split-second speeds, can your character at all fly?
She can warp.
She can warp. Okay.
Yeah.
So my jetpack's basically going to be useless. But if my dude can sit there and either A, grab her in a single second, like in a split second if he gets lucky, or B, hits her with some flame, I don't think that's going to do you too good. Because my dude does have a wrist-strapped flamethrower on him.
There is the thing that I don't think this, I could be wrong with this, I don't think the sword needs to actually come in contact with flesh to activate the 3% chance to freeze opponent with the greater frostbite runestone that it's adorned with. So there's a possibility that striking the armor could at least kind of make that part of the armor brittle.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely see that.
And then more susceptible to like shattering or something.
Okay.
And
also, speaking
the
of that
flames
sword,
could definitely be a problem if she got. Yeah. She doesn't really wear armor.
Yeah, I was gonna say if she's warping, I guess she's super lightweight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely be a struggle.
She has like I guess just like a standard shirt, kind of like a leather sachet, basic pants and some like fancy boots.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see some problems when fighting with being that lightweight.
But then again, she really only engages in kind of close range attack when there's an open opportunity.
Yeah. See, I wish I could tell you that my dude could either yes or no, be able to catch your character in split seconds. But I can't really tell
like he'd be able to if he has like super heavy armor on.
Well, he has super heavy sci-fi armor, but then again, he's also built for fighting Jedis, like I said, which are using literally it's a blade that is basically a handle. You don't really feel the plasma to it. That's what I'm saying. It's a super lightweight blade, and they are able to stop and cut
But then again, if you're building yourself up to be a juggernaut, you're not really building to be a juggernaut to be quick and be able to dodge. You're building yourself as a juggernaut to be able to take hits and keep fucking going like a tank.
That is true.
And that could very well limit mobility, because if you think about it, like, okay, let's take CIri for example. She doesn't really wear armor because that would limit her mobility. So, even in the real world, the more armor you put on, the heavier it's going to get, and the less mobility you're going to get out of it.
That is true.
And is the guy inside this armor just like a normal guy?
Basically. But, okay. So like Tony Stark's Hulkbuster suit?
No.
Okay, well basically he had a giant suit that was built for fighting the Hulk. I just made a battle arena chat and just stuck how the armor looks inside of it. So you can take a better.
Okay.
But basically it's
a just thought. If it's just like a normal guy inside of that suit, who's to say his reaction times would even be fast enough to even come close to try to catching Cirilla?
Fair enough, but at the same time, he's also a genetically bred trooper.
I didn't catch that.
Hey, could we pause this for a second?
Yeah.
All right.
Is at 1940. Okay.
It's broken. What is it? Are you still recording?
Yeah, I just made a note to where I should cut it.
Okay. Basically, my dad just.
Hold on, you cut out.
I don't know if he meant to call me or if he was trying to just get a hold of my sister. But if he calls me again, I'm drop out as quickly as I can to answer it because it wouldn't let me.
Okay, you're really quiet right there. Didn't hear what you said.
I said my dad tried to call me.
Okay.
And it wouldn't let me. So 3 minutes he might try to call.
Okay.
So we can keep going, but I might have to drop out.
Okay.
About that.
So, where were you?
You mean back to the what were we talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, we were talking about the armor, how the armor, because it's a giant suit of armor.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Is this like an electric armor suit? Is it like power steering?
Can you explain a little bit?
Like, is it like an exoskeleton where it assists in its own movement?
It is just in its own movement, but these soldiers have been bred to use this suit. Like they literally.
Okay, so the guys inside of them are just
every
like
day
total
of their life.
fucking meatheads.
Kind of. Yeah.
Okay, so it's safe to assume they don't have the best reaction speed in the first place.
Yeah, that's fair to assume.
Okay. See, ooh, this is a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. See, I'm trying to avoid just using, like, kind of CIri's just ultimate finisher move, which is the scream.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if it's powerful enough to rip, like, the earth apart, kind of, a little bit, I feel like armor wouldn't stand up to it very well.
I agree with you on that standpoint, but at the same time, the Earth is nothing but loose dirt.
Until you get down to bedrock.
Yeah.
And I don't mean
AKA.
Minecraft bedrock, I mean solid rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is only like 50 feet down, I believe, on average.
Yeah. Should we call this first battle? We'll say a draw for now.
Okay.
We can come back to it later because it's very hard to give a definite.
Okay.
Without,
I feel like we should come back to that when we have a judge. An unbiased judge.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Okay.
And we could do that, like.
So, display your second character's traits.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'll put a photo of this one too. Character is a giant suit of battle with a giant shield. The only weak spot on it is its neck, but it is very good at grabbing things. It is very good at destroying things because it's normally used to destroy sci-fi tanks and stuff like that. And it has a giant shield on it, besides being completely shielded.
Okay. And that's made out of worms.
Yes, it's literally trillions upon trillions.
It looks like
now
metal.
Yeah, that's its outside. That's its armor.
Oh, so the worms
Now,
aren't the armor. The worms are inside the
No,
armor.
Yes. Now, I will state this. With the way the game Halo works, and I will include this function in this, when the worms take enough damage, they will disperse and the body will basically fall.
And at
It will
that
no
point, it's
longer.
pretty much defeated.
Yeah, and that's basically it being defeated.
Okay.
Because in the game, normally it has a weak spot on its back. This one doesn't because of the game it's in and how it's armored. But normally, when it would take enough damage, the entire worm body would just die. And in canon,
the weak spot is on its neck.
Yes.
Is
So
it
the
all
weak
the
spot
way
on this
around
one
the
is
neck, or like just the front or the back or the sides?
it's the front and the neck, and if you look at its knee joints, you can see the worm.
Oh, okay, I see it.
Yeah.
So, as I mentioned, Eve is a high-level hexen beast, a witch, pretty much.
This is going to be another.
Yeah, this is gonna be another hard one.
By the way, if you start hearing some outside said noise, just let me.
Okay.
Actually, you don't give me a second. I'm gonna put it that way. They can do it.
Okay. You want me to cut it here? Guess we're waiting for a second.
All right, we're good. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. So,
I don't really know much about.
So would or would not telepathic control work?
It would not, and it's been proven in lore that it would.
Okay.
So, in order for me to get into that, I need to get into another. So, have I told you about the flood?
No. I know nothing
Okay,
about
well,
Halo. Not a damn thing.
okay. So, in Halo, there are a parasite, right? And they're called the flood. Basically, they soak up as much biomass as they can, degrade it, and then they use that biomass to form attack forms and infection forms to collect more bio.
Okay.
And one of the only enemies that cannot be defeated by the flood are hunters, or however you want to pronounce these worms' names, because I can't. Because of their telepathic ability, if you infect one worm, it does not infect the rest. So based off of that, I'm gonna say. Oh yeah, and by the way, when the flood take over a human or a covenant or any sort of form, they normally get all their.
You cut out there.
So when a flood form takes over anybody, they take all of their abilities and all their memories with them.
Okay. So, I don't know, should I just go in with the strongest attack first?
Yeah, you might as well.
So what actual weapons does your worm dude yield?
So he wields his sword / shield. I like to call it a sword because it's basically just a giant bladed shield.
Okay.
And then on the hand you can't see is a giant fuel rod cannon, or in the terms that you would understand, a plasma-based rocket launcher.
Okay.
But it fires in string.
Wait, hold on. I need to search something very important that I don't know.
What?
I need to know if Eve can fly. I know she can, like, lift people. I'm not sure if she can fly herself.
Here's another image better depicting the.
Hold on. Okay, let me. Oh, okay. I see it.
Yeah.
So it's like a lightsaber cannon.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, like I get what you're saying, but it's technically a different fuel source and stuff.
I
Think of
feel
it
like
as
there is an episode where she
it's a
flies,
giant
but I'm not
thing.
entirely sure, so I'm not gonna act upon it.
Okay. Think of it as a giant laser point.
Okay, just like a 500,000 watt laser.
Yeah, something that's used to destroy armored tanks, armored units, and stuff. Armored vehicles.
Okay, so should I really just go in with my strongest attack first?
If you feel like you need to, then do it.
I feel like I'm not seeing a lot of weaknesses here.
Yeah, there aren't much weaknesses with the captain compared to the regular hunter. Oh yeah, and by the way, behind that shield, they also have a giant claw they use to grab and slam things to the ground.
Jesus Christ. Okay, you're not making this easy on me. Okay, so telepathy doesn't work, but
No.
physical, forcing physical movement could work, right? Because
If
it's
you were
still
forcing,
mass. She can move mass, no matter what it is. It's not
so
telepathy.
so she could force the armor to move, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Then technically, yes.
Okay. Eve.
But then again, if you try to force like them to move their hand, they could always dispatch that hand and pick it up later.
But then they're going to be without a limb for a certain time in the fight, and there's also going to be a hole in the armor.
But the limb would still be working. Like that limb could go off and do its own thing.
Okay. Eve is going to force the armor,
Okay.
the armor specifically on the arms, toward the head neck region while the worms are attacking with their weapons in a attempt to get it to decapitate or shoot itself in the head.
What if the captain is able to fire his blast off before that? His
Eve can
his main
deploy a
cannon.
force field.
What?
Eve can deploy a force field.
See, now that gets more into the physics of Halo, because now I gotta determine, because they also have force fields in their games, if the hunters can shoot through their force field.
And theoretically, Eve could pick the entire being up and like slam it down on the ground.
Okay, so you damage a couple of worms by doing that. They reform and they regroup, and then they get back up.
Repeatedly.
Who says they can't fire off a cannon shot while she's sitting there picking them up? Or something along those lines. Can't throw the shield or anything.
Oh, the shield is attached to their armor.
Well, yeah, the shield is attached to their armor, yes, but they can always throw it. Like, they don't throw it in the game, obviously.
Okay.
Because it's like
Does it
one of
wear
their
a
main
helmet?
sources of defense. But what'd you say?
Does it wear a helmet?
Yes, it does.
So, oh, that's right. It doesn't have like a fucking brain. The entire thing is a brain. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I did state that if it did take enough damage, we'll say that it died. Because if not, it'd be super unfair.
Is it safe to say that Eve could methodically and kind of slowly but surely dismantle the armor in between using the force field?
In a certain term, yes, we could say that.
Like, could just pull fucking pieces of armor off completely?
I'll say that is allowed.
Can your character still function without the armor, or does it just like fucking go limp?
Yeah, it can function with out the armor, and I only know this from the comics because when they first come across this, it takes a form of this body shape without the armor, and it is still strong. It's
Do
still
they
probably as
breathe?
strong. They do not breathe.
They do not breathe. Okay. Are they susceptible to chemicals of any sort?
Not that I know of, except for flood spores if you have enough.
Okay, so
I should have picked a Goliath. That would have been fun.
I don't know what that is, but it probably just would have made it a lot harder.
It's about 10 times bigger than a captain.
Yeah. So let's say that Eve rips away the shield and the chest plate. Okay.
Okay.
So they're like a bunch of different worms, so they're not one solid mass, but they're a group of individual pieces of small mass.
Correct.
So she could grab, or like, not physically, but like the same way she manipulates the armor, she could grab like a fucking chunk like out of the chest, pull it out, and like fucking slam it on the ground.
Yes.
Or incinerate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, the only problem with this is we're doing a lot of speculation because we basically have a character with the Force versus a giant suit of.
That is a good point.
Because also, who says that because it is a fuel rod cannon. It uses, I don't remember. I think it might be, no, is it methane? I can't remember what type of gas and bolts that are very explosive in order to penetrate, even like I said, tank armor and stuff like that. So who says that they can't?
Because it's not a natural, like, metal is like a natural resource. You know,
Yes.
even diamonds fucking break, you know. But when a force field isn't really a natural material, it's not really a material at all. It's more of a concept, I guess. I'm not sure if that's the right way to describe that. It's more okay, think about it like this.
Well, here's the
Is
thing that I'm
plasma magnetic? Hold on, is plasma magnetic?
so in Halo, Halo 3 specifically, there is a bubble shoot. And I'm trying to see if a hunter
Plasma
can shoot
is
through the bubble shield.
magnetic. So, if you think about it, so this cannon fires metal rounds, I'm assuming, right?
No,
What does it fire?
it's an energy-based shot.
So, like plasma.
I could double check on that, but it's
So wait,
around
it for
those.
sure has a plasma laser. Correct?
Sorry, what did you? Sorry, I'm reading.
It has a plasma laser, though, correct?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's a bunch of bursts.
Okay, so here's the plasma is magnetic. And if we're assuming a force field in its most basic form, it would be a magnetic field, like a very strong magnetic field, and that could easily repel plasma.
Okay, so the shield in Halo 3, okay,
Okay.
is the bubble shield. It's a giant force field that goes out in a bubble shield. Is only susceptible through gunfire and hand grenades. So would it be fair to say that an explosive energy round would be able to go through it?
But
Or should I look at
what
whatever shield
necessarily
you
is
have
the
or whatever?
energy? Because if it's like electric energy, a magnetic field would disperse that as well. So when you say energy, is it like electricity energy?
See, I'm trying to figure out what type of
Because when you
right
say
now.
energy, I think like electricity or plasma.
It's see, it's hard to say again because I'm having to go through the lore in order to find it.
Mm-mm. Are we really gonna end up with 2 stalemates?
We might have 2 stalemates until we can find someone else.
We're already at 40 minutes. Damn.
Really?
Yeah. And we just struck 40 minutes.
Dang.
Oh, that's right. We have to cut out like 3 minutes.
That is true.
Okay.
So I don't like this because this is Halo 5 instead of being the Halo game. but it's the best thing I can find in order to give us a fair chance.
Okay.
So the ammunition of the weapon uses tubes of radioactive incendiary gel.
So napalm, incendiary gel.
Yes, kind of. Except for it's more solid than, as liquid as napalm. Just
Okay.
slightly more solid.
So it's pretty much petroleum. And what else did you say?
It is radioactive.
Radioactive.
Yep.
So that really only, the radioactive part really only applies if it comes in contact.
Yeah. That's fair to
How
say.
radioactive is it? Is it like a fucking nuke, or is it like,
Well, here's the thing.
or
It
is it
builds
like
up
the
in a clump.
outskirts of Chernobyl?
We'll say outskirts of Chernobyl because it doesn't say.
So
But
survivable.
the weapon can fire in a beam gel seen in Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Wars, and Halo 3 ODST. So that's the one we'll use.
Okay.
It fires as a beam instead of being just a shot.
So like a laser as well.
Yes, of incendiary. Well, who did you say the name of your character was again?
Eve.
From what series?
Grim. 2 M's. EVEGRIMM.
Let me look at her force field shield. See what I can find up to make it, we should really do this just a little bit more off recording.
Yeah, we
That
really
way,
should have.
yeah.
That's not how you spell field.
So we can make this one like 50 if we really have to, because we have to at least come to a conclusion on one of these that we both agree with.
Yeah. See, that's the problem with fucking Grimm, though. There's not like a huge amount of documentation like in Wiki or in the fandom page.
Yeah.
Like, but there are episodes later in the show where Eve uses a force field.
Okay, so you've seen the episodes.
Yes.
What is she using the force field to block, and what type of force field?
I don't really know what type of force. It could be magnetic or it could be a telepathic force field. I'm gonna assume it's a telepathic force field because telepathy is kind of her bread and butter, right?
Okay.
So let's assume it's a telepathic force field. That means it could, in theory, repel 90% of things, right?
In theory.
Like, you're not just relying on like a magnetic field to disperse magnetic things that come at you or things that can be affected by a magnetic field.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not even really a force field. It could literally just be her, like, I don't know if telepathically works with like inanimate objects, but like grabbing it like that and like pointing it away, or just fucking grabbing like a bullet out of the air and directing it somewhere else. Because
Okay.
in one
Here
episode
actually.
where she comes back to attack Nick, the main protagonist of the show, after she becomes a Hexen Beast, Eve, she picks up a bunch of fucking knives and forks out of the kitchen and hurls them toward him all at once without touching them.
Okay.
At ridiculous speed. So.
Okay, here's the problem I come across with a telepathic shield, right?
What?
So in order for her to use it, she has to focus.
Yes, but that is assuming she's using an actual shield and not just just grabbing shit and moving it.
Okay, yeah, that is true. But at the same time, if she has to multitask like that, her shield becomes weaker.
Yes, in theory.
Well, we have to go in theory because we really don't
Yeah.
have. So in theory, if her shield is weaker, it is more sustainable to, aka also her, because the more damaged she is, the weaker her shield is, because she can't focus.
Yes.
So that means if my dude gets a single good shot or something singly, or one single thing distracts her, basically she's gonna.
That is a good observation, but she is very quick on her feet and very aware of like everything. Hexen, pretty much
Okay.
all Hexen beasts have super hearing and super senses, not just the high level ones.
This is getting to be very annoying.
And you know what I realized? I should have brought Nick instead of Eve. You know why?
Why?
Because this is a major spoiler alert, by the way.
I don't.
Later in the show, so okay, I have to go into the lore of the show a little bit here. So there's Nick is a Grimm, and a Grimm is someone who can see the monster inside certain people, even if they don't want to be seen, and those certain people are called Vessen, right?
Okay.
And that there's countless types of Vessen, but he can see them even when they don't want to be seen. But they can be seen by anybody if they want to be seen by anybody as well.
Okay. Oh, so basically, invisible.
Not invisible. They have like a normal human form, but they can also shift, kind of like werewolves. You good?
What?
You good?
Yeah, I said so. Shape shifting, basically.
Yeah, but it's not really as trivial as shapeshifting. It's more of like a natural self within that's constantly
Okay.
they can't pick what they're gonna be. They're a set
Okay.
thing that's just inside them, and they can choose whether or not they want to show that to like normal people. But a
Hmm.
Grimm can see them even if they don't want to be seen for what they really are. And so the Grimms, uh, so Nick's ancestors, the Grimms, the first original Grimms were the Seven Crusaders, right?
Okay.
And okay, so this is going off altered history, but in the sack of Constantinople, they found something that they deemed was too powerful or just too almighty to ever be wielded by anybody. So they buried it in the Black Forest of Germany, the Schwarzwald, and they made 7 keys for each one of them. And on these keys,
7.
like embroidered into the side of them, there's like pieces of a map. And if you get all 7 keys, you can use them to make a map that shows where that thing is they buried, right? So later in the show, he doesn't get all 7 keys, but he gets enough of them to show where it is. So he goes to the Schwarzwald, the Black Forest of Germany. He finds this, and this is like a splinter off of an almighty staff, okay? Like if you
So
look at
nobody can hold the splinter of this staff. It's that powerful.
no. Well, actually the staff can choose who it wants to be held by. That's the thing. But this splinter, right? It has immense power. It just to give you an idea of the power it has. This splinter was in his pocket, and he got shot with a shotgun point blank to the chest, right?
And he lived because of it.
He died, and
Well, I mean,
it healed him. He died, and then it healed him and resurrected him. I mean, this is like absolute meta level shit, and I'm really wishing I picked Nick now.
I could see why. Okay, so going back
It
to
also
our fight.
releases ridiculous energy bursts,
But going back to
our lesser characters.
I think I found a conclusion we can both.
Okay.
So, in our fight, as it states right now, with my
You're cutting
your
out.
force, I think it would be fair to say that you would win with the conclusion that you'd deal so much damage.
I heard nothing you just said. You were cutting in and out.
I'm sorry. Is this any better?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. I said, I think it would be fair to say that in this battle, where my hunter is only allowed to take so much damage before he dies.
Oh, we're talking about the Hunter, not the Star Wars dude.
Yes.
In Cirilla. Okay.
No, we're talking about we're going the baddies first, the big one.
Okay.
I think it would be fair to say that you would win if my hunter only had to take so much damage to die.
Okay.
But I also think if I did not put that, your character would run out of, like, from the fight being so long, it deals so much that she would not be able to survive.
Is it not in the lore that the worms can only take so much damage before they just collapse?
It's not. It's in the game.
Oh, it's implemented in a iteration of it.
Yes. And it's the only iteration we can actually see.
So it is, in a sense, factual to the character.
Sorry about that. Service is garbage out here.
Okay, so but it is factual to the character. Right?
Again.
It is factual to the character, even though it's not technically in the lore, it's in the game that it's from.
It's a game mechanic, so I made it to where it would be more fair if I included that.
Okay.
Because I can't prove or disprove it's not lore.
Okay. So Eve wins then.
Eve wins in this sense, yes. If it was where the worms would all have to die, or like 75% of them would have to die in order for it to not be able to work, then yes, I would win.
Which could take a long time, but is definitely possible with Eve's abilities. To just pick them off slowly.
Yeah. But like I said, because she's using in this, that we're saying telepathic powers, she would have to have enough energy in order to keep for a set amount of time.
Yes.
When it comes to the battle of the Juggernaut Stormtrooper versus the little girl.
Well, she's not a little girl in this fight, but Cirilla, yeah.
Yes. In my opinion, the Juggernaut would win because of his armor, unless she uses her screen. Which is the reason why I went for lower powered Juggernaut characters instead of higher powered things, because I didn't want just one move that destroyed everything.
See, the thing is, when I picked CIri, I forgot she has a screen.
Okay.
I did purposely pick Eve, though, knowing that she's a high-level witch.
Yeah. So I say when it comes to this fight...
We're saying if CIri uses the scream, it's pretty much an instant win. But the thing is, if she screams, that's very power draining for her.
Yeah.
Like,
So if my dude basically survives the scream and she's basically out of power, now my dude wins.
Yeah, but it's very unlikely that he would survive it.
Yeah. So in
But
that
if she
sense, I
doesn't
say
use the scream, then he wins.
yes, because she wouldn't be able to deal enough damage.
Okay, there is also the factor that this hasn't been displayed in the show yet, but it has been displayed in The Witcher 3, the game. Um, in when in immense danger and there's nothing else she can do, she can use all of her fucking power and just warp the fuck out of there to a random location without her knowledge of where she's gone.
Okay, but in that sense, I'd technically be fleeing the battle, so my dude
Yeah,
would
that
still
would
win.
be a forfeit.
So I'm willing to say it's fair if my weaker guy
Plausible
wins
on
if
both
your
sides.
stronger girl wins. So we both come away with one win.
Okay, yeah, we can go with that.
Okay, because if not, it all comes down to the matter of time of the fight and what exactly happened.
Yeah. Okay. I'm happy with this.
That was a debate.
That was 56 minutes long.
Dang.
Yep. That's the longest one yet, and that's what she said.
All right.
And with that,
Or
ladies
should
and
we?
gentlemen, you have watched the third, or well, rather, listened to the third episode of the 427 podcast, hosted by myself and Simon. Thank you for
And next
listening.
time I won't be so.
What was that, Simon?
I said it next time it won't be so easy.
Hopefully.
I'm going to definitely pick some more different characters.
Yeah, maybe next time we should. Never mind. I'll talk to you about it off podcast. But
All right.
thank you for listening to the podcast. It has truly been interesting debating this fight between a Star Wars guy, Cirilla, um, a Halo Juggernaut dude, and a witch. Thank you for watching. Next Friday, episode 4. We don't know what it's going to be about at this current time, but you'll know then. Any last words, Simon?
My last words are going to be you guys should have a great day.
I agree with this.